No, to a point. So I like to. They're always going to be like, yeah. I wouldn't do it. You don't need these if you're a beginner, but for like you talk like intermediates and advanced lifters, or yeah.
Is it primarily for advanced or even intermediate?
Intermediates can absolutely use them. So the whole point of bands. Okay. So this is where we're saying Josh and the rest of the world on some things could differ. Is I think this is like a supplementary. Okay. Bands are a supplement, not a substitute. Okay, so just think about it. You put your protein powder in your cup. It's a supplement. It's not a substitute for your diet, hopefully. Same here with this. This is a supplement to your training. Like you don't have to do it, but it can make it potentially better. Okay? Because actually, in reality, that's another piece of misinformation out there. Is okay, if you read a lot of information for bench pressing is put out by people that are equipped or formerly equipped lifters. So it's different because okay, with equipment, what did we talk about earlier? The bench press shirt drives the weight off your chest, you lock it out, right? The raw bench press has an ascending strength curve, meaning it's most difficult when you're down here in the starting position. It gets easier as you go up. So you really are overloading that bottom end position. Okay. So so basically with bench pressing, you got to keep that in mind of like, if we have to overload one position, it's bottom end position, okay? And so some of the best ways to build that position is through, guys have done that before? Okay, you know what that, everybody know what that is? Okay, so it's basically, you get in a rack. You start the weight about this far off your chest, so like an inch or so, and you push it up to the bottom, okay? So if you're longer arms, you start it further off, okay? The only advantage you have with longer arms in the bench press, being taller, is you have a longer eccentric, okay? So what I mean by that is think about it. You got longer arms, you got longer to bring it up, so you can potentially get a better stretch reflex. So you have to start off a little, that's gonna be one of your best ways. Spoto presses, you guys have done those before?
Yep.
Stop the bar like right off your chest, yep. Dumbbell bench presses, pause, things like that, okay? But as a raw lifter, you still can't neglect your triceps. So that's where things get a little bit tricky because training your triceps hard, and even your arms. Think about it. We had a big storm in here. We call it monsoon or something. India? Is that what they are, big storms? Yeah. Okay. Well, a tree in a monsoon with a bunch of wind that has a big stable trunk is not going to sway as much as, or it's going to sway much less than the skinny one. Same with the arms. So you get, arms, I don't know centimeters, but like 12 inches around. Put 600 in there, it's going to shake around. They're 22 inches, and boom, you're locked in. Like, bring it, bitch. So, for chest isolation, when we talk about bodybuilding, I've done some of my favorite movements are dumbbell flies, band flies. So a lot of people can't do dumbbell flies, but because their shoulders hurt. A band fly, all you do, just throw a band around this, get it right here, boom, you get a great contraction, okay? Okay, so chain flies. Do we have chains in here? You guys probably got chains in some of your gyms, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so all you do in chain fly is you attach cable handles to the chains, and what you do is you fly them up like link by link by link by link. It comes off the floor, so normally the problem with dumbbell flies is you stretch overload, you come up here, then it's all momentum to finish the lift. With the chain, it comes off the floor, you're fighting link by link by link by link. Yeah. Tracking. Same thing with triceps. Any of your triceps, lift it up, link by link by link, it comes off the floor. It overloads the entire range of motion. So basically, also another rule of thumb would be, I should have said this earlier, for your isolation work, here's the two easiest ways to think of it. Does it hurt? That's not good. So anytime it's an isolation movement, we can replace it. It's disposable. It's a means to an end. So if it hurts, that's not good. this, trying to do a leg curl, and I, feel it, in my shoulder. That's not an effective leg curl at that point.
How many times do you recommend the isolation about
The what now?
the isolation? Is it for bench?
For bench press, I like to do every time you would, personally, every time I would assign bench pressing, I would put some kind of isolation work in there too. So, depending on the person bench presses. So, twice generally would be, just like one would be, so if you're like normal, fitting into that normal 80-85%, like we go one day, more of like chest isolation type of work, or a little bit of triceps. And then we can go this other day with more like shoulder and tricep work. But, the reference would vary depending. So for isolation work, it'd be very rare to go to 6 because it gets so heavy at that point that it's going to be, because you don't want to damage the joint. It's a single, they call it a single joint movement for a reason. Okay, so for instance, like one of my favorite schemes on like isolation work is for like upper body, would be like if you're doing like some dumbbell tricep extensions, do like 15, 12, 9, 6, the fifth set now, or 4, 15, 12, 9, then AMRAP as many reps as you can. So you're getting some good stimulation there. Because a lot of people think you have to be going like to failure to get like, to get, obviously there's no such thing as like, about Dory Gates, Mike Mentzer, all these people like heavy duty training and whatnot. That doesn't exist because what they're not telling you is the full truth. Because if I'm working chest, say, and I get my heaviest set on bench press is 500 pounds. Okay, what about I did 135, say for 12, 225 for 12, 13 for 12, 405 for 6, and then at 500, I did as many reps as I could. Then I did a drop set, like rest pause, whatever. Those other previous sets had some effect. You can't tell me they didn't. Of course they did. Basically what they're saying is I actually like the way they do it. They would say, we get some stimulation, then balls out. Versus like, it's just a different way to put it. They say we do one set of workout. Well, no, you don't. You actually like 5 sets. You just did one set like someone had a gun to your head, your life depended on it. Okay? So, triceps are like some of the jam presses, calves presses, dips presses. One movement we've had good luck with lately with people is a safety bar. I don't think you can do those ones because they're a little too long.
Jam presses, I'm so sorry.
These jam presses.
What did you say after that?
I said calves press.
What's a calves press?
Yes.
It's a jam press on a Smith machine. It's a nice straight line on a Smith machine.
Right.
And then Dick's press.
Dick's press.
Yeah. So, yeah, well, line down. That's over at Dick's.
Oh.
Why is it called Dick's press?
What's that?
Why is it called Dick's press?
Dick's press? I don't know. I'm just a stiff. I don't know. Sorry. I didn't make the name up.
I think it's the guy who came up with it. That's
There was a guy named Paul Dix that I guess made the movement up.
Okay.
How effective is the overhead press, the barbell overhead press?
Very effective to a point. So the barbell overhead press, if for normal people with no shoulder issues, is like 70% of your bench press max. So if you did 100 kg, it'd be 70 kg. If 200, it'd be 140, whatever. But I'll say this: like a lot of my best lifters that bench press the most weight, when they get to a certain point, I've found that a lot of times I take overhead pressing out. It just seems to cause too much trauma in the shoulder at that point. So I think it's a good tool to help you get up there. And for some people, it may remain part of their arsenal forever. But that's what I'm saying. Like there's like the art of coaching, and there's no rules. You find these little things like we start getting people up to like, if you're bench pressing 700 pounds, 70% would be 490. That's like to me like just adding some crazy like stressor. You know what I mean? So.
Let's go to the low one.
Yeah, absolutely. So the dumbbell bench pressing help out. Absolutely, this company's been to build a lot of your bottom end strength. Okay, so you all right? So yeah, sometimes. So sometimes I'll do with some people. I'll do this accessory movement on one day. Some people I'll do it like a secondary day. On like, so say you bench press twice a week instead of a barbell, second day with a dumbbell. So it does have good carryover, especially if it allows you to go deeper. You can stretch, pause them. What it can also do is, besides that, is it allows you to angle your hands differently. So if like this causes a lot of stress on your shoulders, this could all of a sudden, like we talked about earlier, you guys you saw like your shoulders hurting, adjusted your technique, felt better, right? Yeah. Okay, you in a PR, how small was that adjustment? Like this? Same thing right here. This hurts, this doesn't. So it can be a really good way to prevent overuse, especially we're gonna go into off-season powerlifting too in one of the subsequent days. But one of like for advanced lifters, off-season powerlifting is you like kind of take breaks from the main movements to prevent overuse stuff. Especially as they get older, you can't be doing the same old crap over and over and over again. For you guys that are younger getting into powerlifting, you lift less weight, so you might do like, I got a new book out, the Gel Strong Off-Season Powerlifting Program. Okay, so for people that aren't advanced lifters that are younger, people that are new to it, the rep protocol is a lot of days it's 8 sets of 3 reps. So but it's not very heavy. It's not near your max. So what you do is you build, because the whole point of off-season is to build muscle hypertrophy, increase your work capacity. It's called phase potentiation, which essentially means you're potentiating the future strength phase. You're setting yourself up for a high strength phase. So the reason we do that is with the lighter weights, you're building perfect technique. Like I said before, it doesn't happen in 90%, but when you're only 75% for 3 reps, it's still heavy enough to get something out of it, but it's light enough where you can build that perfect technique over and over and over again. So the dumbbell bench presses fit very well in the off-season plan because you're preventing overuse. How old are you lifting for? Okay. Since I was like seeing the wine sales like 5 years old, so I thought everybody else was like that.
Whatever static holds on the bench at the top.
Yeah.
We need to lift it.
That's a very good movement. So what that does is that gets your central nervous system used to handling a heavier weight, so you're not like, you don't get the bar in your hand, you're like, oh shit, like this is gonna kill me. It's more like, been there, done that, get used to that weight. So the only time it becomes dumb is when you do too much weight. So if I would say like 10% of your max or so is a good place to go. You don't need to, I mean, you could train yourself. What's your best bench press ever? 130? I guarantee you, if you start doing those every single week for like 2 months, you can get them to 200. Just hold it there. But what the hell is the point? You want it to help your bench press, you want your good static, or you're going to help your bench press, right? So if you just once in a while take 140 and just get used to it, you know, it's not going to feel that heavy. Like a lot of good tools get very, very, very used.
Josh,
Go ahead.
are you a fan of bands and chains at all?
I am. So, let's actually cover that. So, okay, so bands and chains. Okay, so bands and chains are meant to complement the main movement. They're not in place of it. So it's a supplement. Not a substitute. Okay. Remember that. It's a supplement, not a substitute. But again, like everything good in training your life gets abused. So like, who here likes to have a beer? Well, I like beer. Okay. But if you drink like 12 a day every day, that's not good, right? A nice shot of whiskey every once in a while to celebrate something is okay. But if you drank it every single day, you'd have liver failure. You know what I mean? So like, a lot of this stuff is good, but people abuse it. So like, oh yeah, bands work, so let's do every workout instead of this or that. No, it's just like a substitute. Or supplement, excuse me. So the guidelines I want to keep is, here's my guidelines, is 10 to 25, so if you're using on the main lifts, like the bench press, squat, your deadlift, do about 10 to 25% resistance, okay? So if you are doing like assistant band, reverse band deadlift, say, reverse band bench press, whatever, your max is 200 kg. So you would never go above 50 kgs of help, okay? Beyond that, it becomes too much of a different lift. Now, if you're quick lifting, that's a different story. You can actually do that, okay? You could actually go more, but for raw lifting, 25% difference in the bar weight's about the maximum. And then the other thing you gotta remember about bands and chains is bands are easier to overtrain than chains. Do you guys know that? Do you know why?
Acceleration.
Acceleration. So, exactly. So, when you're doing your bands, and you bring the bar down, okay, there's like an overspeed effect on this eccentric. So, normally I say I bring the bar down like this, all of a sudden the band's on, it's like an overspeed effect. Whoa, okay? That eccentric overload is putting a lot of stress on your muscles. Okay? That's going to take longer to recover from than chains would. So chains kind of bridge the gap between the barbell and and the bands. Bands are like totally changing because you can actually get to the point on say bands, especially on squats. This happened to me one time because like I said, too much of a good thing can like people abuse things. So started getting good gains doing banded squats. So what I did is I kept increasing the tension, and what the bands do after a while is you get like initially a band causes instability, okay? But if you keep loading bands on the barbell, eventually you get used to it, and like it actually helps you stabilize. You've like essentially created your own Smith machine. And so what happened is, got so much band tension on the bar squatting, I got to the bottom and I like felt naked at the bottom. I felt weak. It was scary. Like I was like I used to like blast out the bottom, and all of a sudden I felt like this little boy that wanted my mommy. It's like I felt like a pussy. So it was crazy though. But that happened after like 3 weeks of too much band tension. It happened fast. So point being, if you abuse bands, you in essence are creating your own Smith machine that's actually assisting the stability. Crazy, but. And then I wouldn't recommend, so if you're using bands properly, chains, I wouldn't recommend using them on the reload weeks, okay? Because why do we use them? Well, we use them because they overload the entire movement. Usually think about for bodybuilding. Bodybuilding, I don't want to leave anybody out. So bodybuilding, you're trying to work quads, squatting, okay? Obviously you're working your quads a lot as you lock the squat out, okay? Well, if you come up out of the bottom, it's not that hard to lock. I mean, you can suck at a squat right here. Nobody really. But if I put a ton of chains on there, all of a sudden, they're coming off the ground. It's hard the entire range of motion. So the reason we're doing it is instead of making the bottom half hard, we're making the whole thing hard. That requires a lot more to recover from. So if you're doing a reload, deload week, you can't do that because you're like, the whole point is to underload on it, not overload. You know what I mean? So you gotta be careful with that. So don't do them then. Then I wouldn't recommend doing them more than about 6 weeks tops, because then it becomes too used to it, because then you start essentially creating your own Smith machine. You guys also gotta remember for bands and chains, they're very good for your isolation exercises as well. That's where so they're used a lot for the main lifts, they're underutilized a lot for your isolation movements. So if like all of a sudden you get your triceps, your elbow hurt, get one of those V handles, throw some chains on there, the extensions, and you're all of a sudden like overload the entire movement of where your elbows, those are painful, those vulnerable, the weak, the bottom of the movement, the chains on the floor, so it makes it easier to come off before you overload the entire movement. That makes sense? So that's kind of my take on bands and chains. So what are the kind of questions we have for bench pressing here?
Just a quick question on bands and chains.
Yeah.
Do you have a percentage that you like to start somebody with when you're adding a band or a chain to it?
A percentage you said?
Yeah, of just the bar weight, without the band, without the chain.
Okay, you mean like, okay, so I would be more concerned with how much band or chain we're adding in the actual, the lift, okay? So I would say to start somebody out, you want to be like that 10 to 15% range, regardless of how much weight's in the bar, because obviously, let's just say, for example, the person can deadlift 200 kg. Well, if you put 180 on the bar, then 25 in band, more than likely they can get it. So you can't do like a one-to-one like that, but I would say a beginner, you want to start off with less bands and chains. And interestingly enough, if you guys get a chance, look it up. There's a study on some baseball players training with chains. And they were like not advanced lifters, they were beginning lifters. And they actually got a big benefit out of it, because the other benefit of bands and chains and main lifts is they teach you compensatory accelerated weight, because compensatory acceleration is accelerating the whole range of motion. Well, all of a sudden, I have to accelerate here if the bands and chains are getting more difficult. I can't just be like, oh, I'm going to take it easy. No, I got to accelerate or I ain't getting the lift. So my theory is, the reason it worked for the beginners is it like taught them how did they have to accelerate. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Is it for more advanced?
It is for more advanced lifters generally, but we have to question everything, because that study showed that it worked for beginners. So if you had somebody that was not getting to how to accelerate the weight, then you can do it early on. They're gonna either learn or not get the lift.
But this is considering that they already set their form.
Considering they're already set in their form, that's the problem with introducing it early. Exactly right. So that's exactly right. So that person needs to know how to get form. Because if you can't hold position right here in your deadlift, and then you start overloading that range of motion where you get stuck anyways, I mean, obviously your form's going to deteriorate even more. So yeah, assuming you have good form.
So concerned about my form. Maybe send me the exam.
Just try and join your PR.
Would you take, would you still include competition bench press in a hypertrophy block, or?
It would depend on what the person's goal is, because a lot of times bench pressing is not going to be the best movement for chest development, because a lot of people that are like hard gainers in their upper bodies, they have like really long arms and all that stuff, so they're going to feel the bench press more in their shoulders. There's going to be like a certain active range of motion where you're going to feel your chest better, and you need to find out what's going to work best for that person. So if it's a person that just wants to gain muscle and their body doesn't fit well with bench pressing, then no. If it's a powerlifter, beginner or intermediate that doesn't have any injuries, yes, because you want to keep building that pattern. Someone more advanced that needs a break from bench pressing because they do it week in, week out for years, no. Yeah.
Would you use?
For a power lifter, you can still put it in a hypertrophy.
Hell yeah. Absolutely.
And still with the pauses, right?
Yeah, I would, because especially if someone's starting out, because they need to learn learn to execute that pattern correctly. Yeah.
And
So
what
this
rep
question is
range
around
would you
Zuarez Valley pusher.
Hold on, let me.
what rep range would you assign? Would you assign like an 8 to 10 rep range, or?
I would initially do someone lower, so I would say I like to do things like, 10 sets of 5, 8 sets of 5, things like that, because I want to get them. I feel the feeling that the form can deteriorate when you start doing real high reps for powerlifting purposes. So I would do more of a cluster set myself. Now, if someone's advanced and they know their forms, you get to a certain point in lifting if you've been doing it for a while. Like I know when I was competing, like squatting or something, if I missed a squat, just wasn't strong enough to do it that day. It just the form was good, just wasn't there. Bench pressing, nothing happened. Just I couldn't lift it that day. I wasn't strong enough that day. So go back and get stronger. Get to a point where that like rarely is form an issue if you're dialed in. Thank you,
Yeah.
bro.
Are you a fan of using intensifiers like rest pauses and cluster sets?
Absolutely. Big fan.
Okay. And when would you use them? Would you use them for strength, hypertrophy?
Both. So it would be how you apply it. So like rest pauses, I get really good results with those people bench pressing. And for the more beginner guys, and not so much beginner, but like more like intermediate to high beginner, like I can do those all the way up to a meet, like as down sets and stuff, get huge results with rest pauses. Basically, what I mean by rest pause is like you go maximum reps, rest 20 seconds, maximum reps, rest 20 seconds. So on bench pressing, you got huge gains on rest pauses. it stops so when people start benching like above like 600 pounds and stuff, it's so demanding on their body. It doesn't work well. But like for somebody starting out, more gaining strength. That in my mind, that's like one of the best ways to gain strength is with rest pauses, and then cluster sets too, because cluster sets allow you to get more volume in less time. So there's like for bodybuilding, for accessory work. So like if I said go do your 15 rep max on overhead rope tricep extensions, what we can do is flip that around to that weight you did for 15 reps. Go 15 sets of 5 reps, resting 15 to 20 seconds between sets of cluster set. At the end of the day, we will accomplish a lot more volume in a lot less time. So that's a key catalyst in strength or hypertrophy right there. So I don't know why more people don't use them in powerlifting. I use cluster sets that are going out of style. I love them.
The question is around your belly push-ups.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to know the science behind it, like, and can we also extend it for other movements, like?
Yeah, absolutely.
And like, what is the science behind it? Like moving from one place to another, and then like building a.
Moving from one place to another is just to like do a short rest break. So basically, the science is okay. So the science behind it's density. Okay, does everybody know what training density is? Okay. Yeah. No. You guys all know training density?
Yeah.
Accomplishing as much work as we can instead of adding weight or reps or volume. We want to make it a shorter amount of time. I really like this kind of training. So everybody's got biases. Cluster sets and all that stuff, but so the walk, you're asking about the walking part. The walking part is simply the whole goal of the thing is to beat time. So if I tell you we're going to war, it's not like 15 push-ups. You did it in like 6 minutes and 15 seconds. I'm like, okay, now you got to do it. Your next goal is 5:55. Okay. So what the walking does, it just gives you an active recovery. So if I'm at the beginning, I might be like, then by the end it's kind of like that. It's kind of more like. All the walking is to give you an active recovery, and all the walking does is like, and you do it at your own pace. So like, you're trying to beat a certain time, okay? So that's all it is. It's nothing special about it, and it's just like because gel how strong gel cells 8 feet. That's just fitting.
I was wondering if you ever experiment with concentric pauses. See, on the way, rather than pause on your chest, pausing halfway up.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
It changes the movement, the intention.
Changes the movement, and also like, okay, if you're trying to work through a sticking point, you should try to like accelerate as hard as possible. It should be like, it's not like a soft thing. It's like, you want to get aggressive. So you're programming your central nervous system to be passive and stop, and you should be trying to kill it. Bad. I do not like pause reps on the way up.
Which phase would you recommend adding the pin presses in?
Any phase, because for it's when you're trying to, so if specifically prepping for a meet, if you're ever work the bottom end, you can do the meet prep, right?
Yeah.
But for somebody like that's not an advanced lifter, like a beginner or intermediate, I would say you do the off season too, because off seasons also tend to maybe to remember weaknesses. So what's it on? I'm missing.
No. He just told me somebody was outside, somebody I knew. So he's just like, she's outside, but I want to finish this question first because it's more confusing.
Yeah. You're so popular, you just got fans stuff.
No, my friend came over. My friend came over, so.
Okay.
Yeah. So you would, for beginners, you would recommend putting them in the off season as well?
Yeah, it's because the off season tailor-made to bring up your weaknesses, right? So if it's a weakness, yes, but the problem is they can be kind of tough on your system. So if someone's advanced, I don't recommend doing it in the off season, because at that point you're doing the off season like it should be to give your central nervous system a little bit of a rest, not to like do something that demanding. So, but
What rep range would you recommend?
1 rep.
1 rep.
So you only